I'm gonna kind of show you like something really wicked, and I kind of went over this not too long ago, but I want to show this again because it's just so cool.
He looks like a little insane drunken angel.
Ancient Lord 55, thanks for the follow. And for some reason, I had my volume turned down earlier, so I didn't get to see the names that followed earlier. And I do apologize for that, but as soon as it gets to my phone, because I get alerts here as well, and as soon as I see your name or whatever come up in my email, if you followed while my volume was turned down, I will definitely give you a shout out. But basically what we're going to do here, we're going to put 8 voxels in pretty much this type of a setup here, like this, where we just have 8 prime voxels pretty much set up like this. Not a problem there, Snail, not a problem. But I'm going to maneuver another prime voxel into the very center, like so. I'm going to hit my checkbox. And let me go ahead and I'm going to bring up my templates again, and I'm going to bring that board that I just placed down. And let's go ahead and place this over here so I can get a hold of it. Now, the way I created these boxes on the top, which is pretty much from all this section up here, pretty much. What I did to do this was I literally selected one of the smaller microvoxels like this and did a copy. And I replaced one of these outside 8 voxels. And let me go ahead and paint these another color to kind of separate, and so you can kind of easily discern one from the other here. So I have these 8 voxels, and I have that copy in my hand here that I can move around from one of the little voxels that I copied from over here. And let's actually get a bigger one so you can actually see it. And I'm going to paste that. So there you go. You should be able to see that one a lot better. I'm going to maneuver this over to where I am at, and I'm going to replace one of these corner voxels with that micro voxel. Now, if I zoom in here, you can actually see how it has pulled that center voxel all the way up into this other space, into that space where that other prime voxel used to be. And this is how you can actually create like your own voxels to do pretty much whatever it is that you want to do. And you can manipulate this thing one way or the other. And give me 1 second. I'm going to switch over to something right quick. And let's see. I want to go to my cam view, or not cam view. Let's go to my browser. Let's turn this one on. Hopefully you can see this. There we go. You should be able to see my browser right now. This is how a regular voxel is shaped. If I move my camera around, or move the view of it around, you can see the actual shaping of a standard voxel. That is this green area here, not this outside area, just the green area. And let me move this around just a little bit, and I'll try to zoom in a little bit more for you. And if I can get my this thing to stay the way I want to. Okay, there we go. But this is how a real voxel is shaped. This is the reason why the shaping of a voxel doesn't always retain its shape depending on the north, south, east, west, the way you turn it. You know, if what you can do on one side, it necessarily cannot work on the other side just because of the actual shaping of the voxel. And it is basically made up of these little triangle pieces all the way around the sides. Now basically what I've done here in that particular instance is did this with it, or something similar to it. Let me bring this down a little bit. I basically created this type of a shape right now on this particular section that I'm working on. I've literally pulled that section. You can see how it kind of pulls it out. But we're literally something around something like this right now, where it's literally pulled that face out into that other space instead of leaving it the standard of what it was before. Now I can pull this back and kind of set it back to its standard setting, which is something like this. So, but as you can tell, like each face of that voxel literally has, it's like a 3D dimensions here. You literally are looking at these angles, this triangle piece. Now I can pull these in as well, and this is kind of where it kind of comes down into microvoxel land and all. I mean, you're literally coming into a world of its own. But you can create voxels that are shaped just like this as well, but it takes a lot more playing, a lot more tinkering and stuff like that. So we literally have that shaping, and it's all about how can we get that? How can we make shapes that are of this shape? It takes a little playing. Sometimes it takes using the line tool or something like that and copying one of those extruded voxel faces to actually do this type of work. So let me jump back in, and we're going to jump back into the game here, and you should be able to see it now. So getting back to where I was at here, but that's how exactly this face has been pulled into this other space, but it's using this as the reactor to cause that center prime voxel. And if you don't know what a prime voxel is, a prime voxel is if I take an add tool and I click it and put one out here, that is a prime voxel. It is unmanipulated. It has not changed from its basic form, and that is basically what you saw in the very beginning, where all sides were equal and it's right in the center. That is a prime voxel, and anything that is larger than that is a megavoxel. Anything that is smaller than that is a microvoxel. And this is in its basic form. In other words, a square. And that's the difference between, the smaller ones and the bigger ones. And that's about as basic of a terminology as I can possibly get there. So how can we manipulate this particular voxel to fit the needs that I am looking for? Well, you have to manipulate another voxel that will react with this voxel I have in the center. And there's different ways to do that. Well, I can take a megavoxel, which are these up here, or something that's the size that I'm looking for, that will take up one of those corner spaces and manipulate it in and out to be able to grab that corner and pull it. So I'm going to grab this one. Control C is for copy, and then Control V to paste, and let's bring this up. Now it's just a square, so well, what can I do with this? Well, I can take my line tool, and let's go on this face, and I'm going to double click my line right here, and it's not exactly doing what I want to. So let's go ahead and drop another one of these block boxes right next to it, and let's get it out here somewhere. Let's do that. This always tends to work a little bit better for me anyway. So we'll put two in a line, and I'll take my line tool and do pretty much the same thing as what I was doing before. I'll click here, and then I'll click here. And you see that face is starting to decrease. It's literally going back to its normal size. And if I take my selection tool, you should be able to see it a little better. You can see that selection face over here, but everywhere else around it, it is not there anymore. So literally we flatten that one face back to its original shape. Now I can come over here on the other side, I can do the same thing and just flatten it out. Like so. So now we have like these little rectangular type shapes. I'm going to select that. You can see I've got the inside selected, and I have that outside perimeter is still outside of the voxel face. And that's these mega voxels, and we're kind of manipulating it just a hair to do what it is that we want it to do. So let's take this one, let's do a Control-C to copy, and I'm going to replace this voxel with the one that I just manipulated. So Control-V to paste. Let's put this in here. Let's drop it right down into that space, and what we should see is that prime voxel in the center, the black one, that corner should be pushed inward instead of being pulled out. And just like I thought, that's what it does. It pushes it in. So I can sit there and I can kind of play with this a little bit. Now let me bring this back up here. I'm going to hit my tilde tab to get where I want. I'm going to rotate one time with my mouse little roller, and I'm going to replace this one over here on this corner. Tilde tab, bring that down, and I'm going to replace that one with it. So I've pushed it in on that corner. So we've literally just came up with a brand new voxel, shape. Now say I wanted to push it in even more. Well, let's take it to the extreme. Let's bring it up here and get one of my bigger ones. Let's go with this one. And by pasting this one in, I should be able to push this back corner right here inwards in between those two shapes there. So let's do a Control-V. Let me get this thing maneuvered right. Bring it down, bring it in, and if I click, I should be able to, yes, it did exactly what I wanted it, and it pushed it in. Now, once I have all this little tinkering done that for this custom shape that I'm trying to make here, I can take my selection tool, I can grab that one, Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. Let me bring it up here, and I'm going to paste it. Now we can see what it actually looks like. I mean, we have this very intricate looking spike going on here, but I can play with that and tinker with it and pull it, but you can actually see those triangle shapes that I showed you earlier in my browser there. You can see that triangle shape. It's right here. That's where you get that solid groove face between the corners and all the way down. And this other triangle shape is basically been stretched out, even though the one over here still retains its actual voxel shaping. But it does that pretty much all the way on both sides here. So that's pretty much voxel manipulation, pretty much in a nutshell. And you can use just about anything to do this type of manipulation. Over here, you'll see we've decreased the size of a voxel all the way around just by using these pointed ones. So I can literally take this shape here, and I've already got it on my clipboard. So let's go ahead and make another voxel reactor, and we'll make one just like this, and pop it in. And I'm going to go ahead and just make this type of a shape here. Let's bring this up, and I'll do the same thing over here. I take my delete key or delete tool and go ahead and chop out these other corners, and I'm going to pop a voxel in the center of it, that is, well, let's leave it white actually, because we're going to be replacing these white ones with black ones. Let's bring this in like so, like that. Now I have my funky shape here, right? Now I can take this shape that I created that was a custom shape build, and I'm going to replace that corner voxel with this shape. Tab, V to mirror, and I'm just going to kind of go around the block here, and I'm just going to turn it in all different kinds of functions and ways to see what I can make out of it. And let's replace this one. V to mirror. Let's bring it over here. Let's bring it straight down. Let's see what kind of shaping I can get out of this. V to mirror. I think I'll leave the other two just the way they are. And just by playing around with the shapes that I created over here, I can do Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and let's bring that up in the air so you can see this. This is the shape that I've created. It's just like an angle piece that's a little higher on one side, and we've got like this little bulge kind of coming out on the bottom here. But just by playing with different voxels and, you know, the shapes of them, I mean, you make a custom voxel and you make that custom voxel actually react with another voxel to get it something that you're actually looking for. So there you go. There's voxel manipulation in pretty much a nutshell. And this is kind of how you kind of go about creating like your own custom fitting little chunk of a voxel to fit the need that you're looking for. So now kind of getting back to this, the way this board is here, I literally have 40 different microvoxels, or 40 primary, all the way down to the smallest size that we can possibly get right here. There's 40 different shapes. And currently, I think the new smooth tool creates like 21. But we took the current 21 with the new smooth tool and basically compared it with the ones from alpha, because in the ones in alpha we had 20. And we compared all the different ones, you know, one next to another. Is this one bigger than that one? And we ordered it all out, and I couldn't have gotten that all done without the help of Rave. And but that, you know, the combination of what he, you know, was able to sort out, I took those individual little microvoxels to create the megavoxels. And so, and by doing that, I took one of these little ones, I put it in each corner and expanded it out in reverse order. And that's pretty much how this board was created. You know, we started out with these bottom 40, and we expanded it all the way up to the top 40. So we have our 80 board.